What is going on, guys? My name is Cole McLennan, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create presets in Lightroom. This is going to be a bit of a quick and fast and basic tutorial, but for the people out there who have never done this and have never figured out sort of how to use presets, this video is for you. Stick around to find out how. So first things first, we're going to jump into Lightroom here because that's what we're focusing on today. And as you can see, I have one of my photos from New York City. I went there this past October, mid-October. First time there, I had a great time. This is from the top of the rock overlooking the city. As you can see, Empire State Building and everything looking great. And this is one of the first photos I edited from it, so I really like it. But what we're talking about today is presets. So we're gonna take the edit that I did on this photo and then we're gonna put it on a different photo as a preset, just to show you guys the process of creating a preset and then sort of the workflow that or the thinking I go into using presets with within Lightroom. So as you can see, if you look at the right panels here, the edits have all been done. We've completely done almost every panel. The edit's done. So what I like to do for my presets and how you sort of create a preset is you go up to develop here, click new preset, or you can hit Control-Shift-N. You name it, so we're gonna name this one YouTube tutorial. We're gonna put it under user presets because that's where all of my presets go. And then you go ahead and you click all of the checkboxes you want to go. These are all of the settings you're sort of choosing to be within the preset. So we're actually gonna choose some of them and we're gonna leave some of them out. Because we're gonna want most of them, I'm gonna click check all just to start. And then we're gonna go through from there. So treatment, that's mostly for black and white or color. So unless you're doing a black and white one, it doesn't really matter. We're not gonna do white balance though. The reason I don't do white balance is because certain photos and it really depends on your environment and what feeling you're trying to create with the photo. So a photo in like a very dark room, and depending on the lighting too, it can be, you can need 3000 Kelvin, you can need 6000 Kelvin. It really depends. So if you put white balance in your preset, you're really gonna, when you're cycling through them, just checking which ones you like the most on certain photos when you're trying to put a preset on as a starting point. If you have to select it and then change the white balance on every photo, it's gonna take more time to get through that. So, and then we get to the basics panel here, and these are pretty much all gonna be included, except I'm not gonna do exposure, but that's mostly because of the same reason as the white balance. Depending on the photo, if you shot it too dark, if you shot it too light, your exposure is really going to need to be custom. So putting your exposure within the preset is just going to be limiting you when you're doing those quick previews and things like that. So we're going to leave the exposure unchecked there. Tone curve, that's part of the style. We're going to keep that. Clarity as well, dehaze, sharpening, all of that we're going to keep. And then the color, saturation, vibrance, also going to keep. Color adjustments, same. Split toning, same. Graduated and radial filters, we're not going to keep these. This is mostly for putting certain edits on certain parts of the picture. So if you're darkening a sky using a radial or a graduated filter, or brightening up some eyes with a radial filter, it's really going to depend on the picture, and you're going to want to put those in afterwards. So you do not want those in your preset. Noise reduction, this is depending on you. Like if you want that included, I'm just going to leave it. It doesn't really matter too much unless you're doing something really crazy with your noise reduction. Then we get to lens corrections. This really depends on the photo for me, so I'm gonna take everything except chromatic aberration off. Sometimes I like the natural vignette that the actual lens gives me, so we're gonna keep that for now. Transform, this is really photo dependent, so we're gonna keep that unchecked. We don't want those changes being made to every photo we add under this section. This effects section, post-crop, vignetting, and grain. This is really dependent on the photo as well, unless your preset has some grain just as an effect as part of the preset, or vignetting even in that case, in that same realm. You can keep that if you want. This particular preset, I'm gonna say it doesn't need it because I'm not really adding much and I'm not trying to add grain as a stylistic choice either. So calibration, that's part of the style as well, so we're gonna keep that, and then process version as well. So we're gonna click create. As you can see on the left here, just added as YouTube tutorial, and this is what we're gonna go to and click on if we wanna add that photo to our actual photo, or if we wanna, this is what we're gonna go to and click on if we wanna add that preset to our photo. So we're actually gonna scroll over here within my my New York photos, and we're gonna go to this photo here of Radio City Music Hall. This is a photo that I edited using a preset from the photo that we just took, but I'm just going to show you how I sort of go about putting a preset on a photo and using it really as a starting point and not an ending point at all on my photos. If you hover over each one of these, it's going to show you what those settings will do if they're applied. If you click on it, it's just going to apply those settings for you. This one I shot a little bit dark, so it's not actually giving us the full effect here of what these settings will do. If we drag up this exposure to a point that we're sort of happy with, I shot these photos in RAW, so I can really crank up that exposure and it's not going to do too much bad to the photo, giving it too much grain or anything like that. And as you can see, it sort of added these if we reset it here but add that exposure anyways, it's really adding those blues to the concrete and giving the photo a little bit of style. One thing that wasn't brought over from the preset is the white balance, and this photo's looking really blue right now. But like I said, it can be anywhere from like 2 to 3,000 all the way up to 6,000 Kelvin, and that's really going to depend on the photo. This one here, it's at 6250 and it's still too blue. So we're going to drag this all the way up until we're happy with it, and I want this to feel like it was like a warm day. So I'm going to go all the way up above 9,000 here.
It's over 9,000!
And we're gonna leave it there because it's sort of creating this nice warm look on the building and over here on the right. And it's already just with those 3 clicks of applying the preset, changing your exposure and changing your white balance, it's already creating this look here, and it's so much better than it was when we started with this reset image here. And then we can just go through and change some things a little bit more, like bringing those shadows up a little bit more, the highlights down, maybe add a gradient filter to the top here, just to darken up that sky slightly, to give a little bit more definition up there, maybe some post-crop vignetting. And there you go, you've got your dramatic image with the settings that you put on a previous photo implemented on this one. So really, I like to think of it as a starting point. If we go over to the actual photo where I edit it further, it's still slightly different. So there are still changes I would make and continue to tweak further. So really consider your presets a starting point, not something you can just slap on top and think that it's done. And when you're creating your own presets, think about whether or not you want your white balance or your exposure or things like that inside the preset baked in, because sometimes your shot, you're going to need to bring the exposure down or up or change the white balance down or up, and it's going to depend on that photo. So I like to keep those excluded, but then things that are stylistic, like grain and post-crop vignetting and things like that, those are up to you per preset. There are times where that style is preferred, and that's definitely up to you and your preset choice. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe down below, and if you think of anything that I missed or that the viewers of this channel should know, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear it. I think the viewers of this channel would love to hear it. And make sure to hit that like button. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't already, follow me at Cole McLennan on Instagram. It's where all of my photography lives. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.